Hey y'all, Rowan here. Welcome to my channel. If you have been here before, then I'm super excited that you came back. If you are new here, then I'm super excited to meet you. Today we're doing my July recap. It's going to be kind of hectic. Well, I say hectic. I've done a recap before that was this kind of half-assed energy that I'm bringing to the table today. So this is not the first time that, nor will it be the last time that you get a recap from me that makes very little cohesive sense. This month made very little cohesive sense. I live in the Southeast Texas area, the Houston area, and we got hit pretty hard at the beginning of the month with Hurricane Beryl, and the hurricane itself was not so bad that it was like, I mean, it was mostly just the high winds and the way they impacted our really shitty electric infrastructure. And so I'm also in the process of moving house, and I have been for a month now. My leases overlapped so that I could move slowly. I don't like blitz moving. It stresses me out. I'm sure I'm not the only one. You may notice that this is a little bit different of a setup. That's because we're in the new house today. I'm testing out some different filming locations and lighting setups. So this is definitely going to change. This will not be staying the same over the course of multiple videos. So definitely don't get too attached here. I do want to say that I apologize if the sound is bad. I'm contemplating going ahead and investing in a microphone, but I want to keep these videos as simple to make as possible, which means that I want to keep my laptop out of it as much as I can. I use my phone to make these videos top to bottom, and I worry that having a microphone would force me to start bringing in more tech, making these videos more complicated to make, and the easier they are to make, the more likely I am to make them. So it's a whole thing, you see? I would ideally like some sort of lapel mic that I could just connect to my phone, but I don't know if that's wishful thinking. I don't know if that exists. I might be making that up. So I've been moving. I had no power at the new apartment for a week after the hurricane, and I did have power at the old apartment. So for at least a week, I was kind of in limbo in the moving thing, and I was just twiddling my thumbs, packing, throwing away, playing video games, and waiting desperately for my new apartment to have power again. So that was a week that was wasted, so to speak. I mentioned in one of my previous videos that you may or may not have watched. It didn't get a lot of views, which I'm not surprised. But I mentioned in one of my previous videos that my husband and I are going to be living separately for the next semester to full calendar year, due to a lot of life circumstances and his school stuff. And I'm not wild about this idea, but I also am totally wild about the idea of living alone. So it's kind of a mixed bag for me. I get to live alone for the first time in my life, which is really exciting, but also I miss my best friend and my husband, and I worry that the separation will have a negative impact on our relationship overall, even though I know that if we try really hard, we can come out of this stronger than ever before. It's just one of those things that gives me a lot of fear and anxiety. You know, I have an anxiety disorder that never lets up, and so I just worry about everything constantly. So that's what's going on there. I do want to show you some of the apartment, but I'll do that at the end of the video, because I'm going to have to do that as separate footage. So I do want to show off some of the apartment. My closet is like my safe space. I have always loved decorating and organizing and setting up my closet. So that's something that I'm really happy with right now. I don't even have a dresser. I just have my clothes in the closet and on shelves in the closet, and that's it. And at this point, I don't even think I'm going to get a dresser. I've got notes over here that I'm looking at. Last month I said I had been doing affirmations. I did not do any affirmations for July. I just got so caught up in everything that I never made any, although I did lean back on my previous affirmations a little bit, especially at the start of the month. I kind of lost that practice as the month went on, so I'm definitely going to try to revive that for August and put together some August affirmations. I still have not even set up my bullet journal for August. That's how kind of hectic things have been for me. And when I say hectic, I don't even mean that I've been that busy, because while I have been busy, the number one thing has just been that I've been overwhelmed, I guess. Less hectic, more overwhelming. I now have an altar set up that because I'm living alone, I have an altar that I don't have to move for anyone other than myself. I get to put altar on the walls if I want to. Like, I have a stone altar where I keep all of my rocks and crystals. I have several different art pieces that I consider altars that I want to hang up into one larger wall altar that I might put a shelf in. Things like that. So very excited. I have a workspace in the dining room of this new apartment. So I now have what is functionally an art studio, which is really cool. It's something I've always wanted. I'm hoping that I actually use this, which is where I'm filming now. I'm hoping that I actually use this rather than just sitting in it and basking in the glory. I'm hoping that I actually use this to paint and collage more. Plus, I'm seeing if it's logical to film videos here. The lighting is a bit harsh, but I'm going to see how that works. Let's see. My mental health has been kind of crazy. I've been mad depressed, but also almost like feeling almost hypomanic. Please do not watch this if you're my therapist, because they are so close to giving me a bipolar disorder diagnosis. And when I use the phrase hypomanic, I'm not using it literally. I do not believe that I'm experiencing mania. I do not feel disconnected from my own reality. In fact, I feel more rooted in my own reality than I ever have before. But it's like, it's not in a pleasant way. Let me put it that way. I'm like so in what's going on and what's happening that it hurts all the time. But it's good for me, and I know that, so I'm doing it anyways. Still not smoking, except when I am in a social situation where somebody has marijuana, weed, that loud. If I'm in a social situation where my friends have it, I might take a couple hits, but my tolerance is not what it used to be, so I can't go too ham with it. So I've only smoked, I think, like twice this past month. So that's great. Drinking too much, but to me, any amount of drinking that is not, social with a meal is too much. So, I'm drinking more than I would like, let me put it that way. And I'm working out more, which helps, but I need to really get into the headspace of replacing alcohol with working out. That's a thing that I'm trying to do, but I'm not very good at it, so that's slow going. So I know y'all are not here to listen to me talk about how I finally got back into The Sims 4 when they released the new romance pack. You're not here to listen to me talk about the compulsive house spending and furniture that I'm getting in. You're not really here to listen to me talk about lifestyle stuff, right? You're here to listen to me talk about tarot decks and magic ritual. So let's first start with some magic that I did this month. So obviously in this new apartment, I wanted to cleanse it. I also did a cleansing ritual on myself, which I have not done in, I have not felt like I've successfully done a cleansing ritual on myself in a very long time. And like I've tried, but I never felt like I was truly spiritually, or rather energetically, not spiritually, energetically cleansed. And moving into this new apartment gave me the opportunity to cleanse myself and the space at the same time in a way that really made me feel like I achieved some sort of spiritual, energetic, clairvoyant, however you want to phrase that. I got some sort of cleanliness going on now. I mean, obviously time happens and it goes away, but yeah. We're 10 minutes into the video. Let's start talking, no, we're gonna do ritual for another minute. I did a banishing ritual, on somebody who was in my life, not by my own volition, but somebody else had brought this person into my life, and I don't want to share my life with this person. And so I did a banishing ritual on them, and I specifically just wanted them to get opportunities that would carry them out of my life. I didn't want to hurt this person. I did not want to harm this person. Even though this person has hurt and harmed me, I did not want to return that to them on the off chance that it would come back my way. So I'm going to let the universe decide how to handle it, but I said give them opportunities to get out of my life. And so I'm really hoping, I do genuinely feel like at the very least, I may have to deal with this person for a little bit longer, but I do feel like eventually there will be a proper exodus of this person from my life. It's just a matter of whether or not the magic is going to be enough, or if I'm going to also have to take more material action to get this person out of my life. I'm hoping that forces outside of me and this person are going to be enough to give them opportunities that open up their life to a path that doesn't involve me. But if I have to, I will simply remove myself from the situation. It's a last ditch thing. I don't want to, it's complicated, but basically the person who brought this third party into my life, I have a fear that if I remove myself from this third party, I will also lose the friendship that I have with this additional person. However, if that has to happen, that has to happen, because the third party is just unsustainable. I cannot have this third party in my life. They were brought into my life without my permission. I did not want to have this sort of connection with this third party. So if it's a complicated situation where I might lose a friend, and I'm trying to avoid that. But if I have to lose a friend, I have to lose a friend, because this third party has hurt me in a way, has actively gone against my better interests in a way that is functionally malicious, even if it is not intentionally malicious, right? So, yeah, that's a thing that I've been working on dealing with, and that's the personal thing I've been like alluding to, is that there's some upset with a really deep, important friendship in my life that might make me lose that friendship because of a third party influence. And it sucks when one of your friends starts hanging out with a new friend and it just fundamentally changes them in a way that you feel is not true to who they are as a person. But that friend's life is not mine, so I can't sit here and pretend like I know what's best for them. They have to make their own choices, and then I have to decide whether I want those choices in my life, right? So that's where I am there. And I also have mentioned in the past that back in February, March, I think, I did a self-transformation ritual, and I really think that a lot of the things that I'm seeing coming to fruition that are making my life really hard right now, I think those things are a result of that self-transformation ritual, because like I've heard the ritual that I did in March, the transformation ritual, was sort of an initiatory practice into following the crooked path of Hecate and pursuing the knowledge of the shadow of the self and of the world, and trying to integrate that shadow into the higher self. And I have read that when you start these sorts of paths, they often do not go nicely. The path is a crooked one, and it is difficult to stay on, and it is a treacherous path. It's not a safe, easy path. It's one that requires a lot of effort and a lot of self-preservation instincts, and so I'm dealing with that, I think. So, like, if I have to purge this friend from my life, I have to purge this friend from my life. If me and my husband have to live separately so that I can learn how to be an individual person separate from him, then that's what needs to happen. And if that means that my marriage fundamentally changes, or God forbid, like, oh, I don't even want to consider, what if we both just like living separately so much that we, Anyway, if that has to happen, that's what has to happen. And I'm just trying not to catastrophize. I'm trying not to let the ball roll down the hill too fast. I'm really trying to keep a hold of my mental health while I go through some enormous life changes, upsets, and difficulties. I'm in the process of trying to start a business for my aesthetics career as a facialist. I'm trying to find a new day job for my aesthetics career because I've got a need to make more money, especially now that I have this apartment and it's going to be all on my own. My husband's going to have to most likely pay for student housing in some way, shape, or form. And so, yeah, I'm not going to be able to financially help him with that. He's going to have to rely on, I'll be able to, like, get him groceries and stuff like that, help out with groceries or gas in his car, but he's gonna have to deal with like getting his own rent and stuff. I can't make that happen, and that frustrates me too. I like to be able to make everything happen, and I can't. So I have to sit on my hands sometimes and recognize that other people's lives are not my own, and I cannot be the one to do everything for somebody else, even though I want to. Okay, I've teased y'all long enough. Let's talk about some tarot decks. Now that you've heard about my life and where it is, let's talk about some Aquarian Tarot. In addition to over-purchasing furniture and decor for my new apartment, I have also been over-purchasing the fuck out of some tarot decks. Pardon my language, but I have to say this is an embarrassing amount of new things that have come into my collection this month, and I almost don't even, like, a part of me wants to lie about how much I brought into my collection, and that makes me know that this is not cool. I need to fix this. I'm talking to strangers on the internet, and I don't even want to admit how much I've bought this month. Like, that's embarrassing. So I need to fix my shit. But in the interest of full disclosure, let's start at the top. At the very, very beginning of the month, I went ahead and got myself the Aquarian Tarot. This, actually, I think I bought this on the 31st of last month, but we're going to count it as this month because I didn't mention it in last month's video. I literally got this, I think, after I went to this, like, filmed my video, and then I went to the store and bought this. I have already trimmed it and edged it in this bronzy yellow color. I don't know how I feel about the edge job. I don't hate it, but I don't know that I love it. It's cute, I guess. I like this deck. I like it a lot. I find it to be really straightforward. I mean, it's a Rider-Waite-Smith clone. Is Daniel Palladini, I want to say. Yeah, because it Daniel or David Palladini. I don't remember his first name, but it does start with a D. But this deck is, I mean, it is what it is. I'm not in love with it. I don't hate it. We're buddies. We're not close friends. We're acquaintances. We're still getting to know each other. I've done a couple readings with it that I enjoyed. It's a clear speaker. It does not waste my time, but it's also just another Rider-Waite-Smith clone that was made, I don't know, when was this, the 70s? So that's that on that. I don't really have much more to say with the Aquarian Tarot because this one is almost, I bought this for the book Psychic Tarot, which I know I could have gotten separately, but if I'm going to get the book for a deck, I want the deck too. Like, if I'm going to spend the money, I want to spend the money. And then I made a pouch for this deck because the box that it came in was just a little bit too big for me, poisonally, and boink, now it has this cute little blue pouch that it lives in that matches the backs. So that was the first one that I brought into my collection. The rest of these are not going to be in order because I don't remember the order that I brought them in. I believe, though I'm not certain, that the next one I got a hold of was the Tabula Mundi, and I got this in the Palm Perfect size. I did invest in, I say invest, it wasn't that expensive and it's not an investment. I did pay extra to get the expansion pack that comes with the Deccan cards and the additional Lust card. So these Deccan cards each utilize symbology that's in the rest of the cards that are associated with it throughout the major and minor arcana. So these cards are basically just collages of artwork that exists already within the deck. And then you also get a Tree of Life Sephiroth card. So that one was really the biggest reason that I wanted to get the expansion pack. But I also want something that is a clear reader for time as well. For some reason in this deck, it came with 2 High Priestess cards. I was really worried that there was another card that was missing from the deck that my High Priestess had been replaced with. No, I think there's just a deck out there that doesn't have a High Priestess card, and I feel really bad because I've got 2 of them, but this one's going to go up on my wall. I have a small collection of random cards from other decks that I have been sent and accumulated over time, so I'm going to make a collage of those on my wall or possibly on the side of a bookshelf. But yeah, this is the Tabula Mundi. It is a Thoth-based tarot deck that is another deck study waiting to happen. I did buy the book with it, the Tabula Mundi. I flipped through it a little bit. I've read some of the entries, but I have not committed to it because I'm still slowly but surely making my way through Lon Milo Duquette's Understanding Aleister Crowley's Thoth Tarot. I'm also currently still reading Drawing Down the Moon by Margaret Adler. Yes? Adler? I don't remember. One of them writes sci-fi novels, dystopian sci-fi novels, and the other one writes witch books. So I don't remember which last name she has, but look them up. I'll put it in the description box. Who gives a shit? Anyways, I'm reading Drawing Down the Moon. It's a big book. It's much bigger than I realized that it was, because I bought it as the Kindle version, and oh my god, I was like, why is it taking me so long to get through this chapter? And then I saw the book in stores, and I was like, oh, it's a tome. That's why. So, I am finally working through the chapter on ritual. It took me weeks to get through just witch history. I'm not a fast reader. I mean, like, when I read quickly, but I do not get through books quickly anymore because I do not read often. Anyway, Tabula Mundi, I'm still studying the Thoth. It's slow going. Let me put this High Priestess card off to the side so that I can remember I want to do something with it. I also brought into my collection Tarot de Carlotydes, or excuse me, Tarot de Carlotydes? Tarot de Carlotydes. It's Spanish, I believe. You would think I would be better at speaking Spanish considering I live in the greater Houston area, Southeast Texas, right near the border of Mexico. You would think. But here's the thing, I'm really white. I don't know if you can tell by the color of my hands, but I'm really white. My family lineage is like Irish, Sicilian, Italian. Like, I mean, historically, people who have not been considered white, but in America in this day and age are definitely white. That's me. Little bit of French. I think it's mostly Acadian French rather than true French, judging by where my family is from. Anyway, I'm not doing a 23andMe or whatever it's called. I'm not giving my DNA to a corporation to own. Thank you very much. That's not happening. I'll give it to, like, medical professionals who have to have my DNA, but I'm not going to just sell it to random companies for funsies. Maybe, I mean, like, my entire life is on the internet anyways, so I don't know why I think I can stand on this high horse and be better than myself this way, but I just, this is a line I draw in the sand. I'm not going to do an ancestry test. It feels weird. It feels a little bit, all the blood testing, it feels a little bit eugenicsy, and I know that it's not, like, realistically, but this focus of modern day, it's okay, let me put it this way. In America, we have this thing called blood quantum, which basically states that if you want to be recognized as a member of the marginalized community that is the native populations of this country, you have to have a specific amount of native ancestry in your blood that you can prove, and that is 25%. If you do not have at least 25% direct native ancestry, you cannot be considered part of a tribe, legally speaking. This is not something the tribes have done. This is something that the United States of America has forced on the tribes. As a way for them to be able to prove the status of their members in order to receive government benefits, or to receive any sort of government support, or to receive autonomy as an indigenous nation. So, unfortunately, this means that Native Americans can only, and I'm going to use this word because I was just saying how it feels eugenicsy, but keep in mind I do not think about Native people this way. Native Americans, or indigenous populations, I don't want to say Native Americans because that America is named after that one guy, anyway. The indigenous populations of this continent are forced to interbreed with each other in order to maintain their status as a legal entity separate from the United States of America. In order to maintain reservation autonomy, Native people are forced to commit incest to maintain their blood quantum. They have to search out people from their tribe who have a certain percentage of blood quantum, who may be their cousins, who may be their half brothers or sisters that they did not know throughout childhood. Like, I'm not trying to say that incest is a normal way of life for Native people. What I'm trying to say is that this government, the United States government, has forced Native people into a position where, in order to maintain their legal status as an autonomous community within the United States, they are forced to not intermingle gene pools with the people who live here now. Does that make sense? Am I explaining myself clearly? So, like, when you sit there and like, oh, I'm so-and-so percent this, that, the other, it just makes me think about how some people are forced to know that, are forced to maintain certain percentages of blood quantum in order to be seen as legal people who are worthy of the rights they have been promised by the government for, at this point, a couple centuries. So yeah, that's why I'm not doing 23andMe. Y'all didn't care about that. Y'all are here for the tarot decks. But yeah, the Tarot de Carlotydes, Tarot de Carlotydes. I'm so sorry. God, it's 6 a.m. if that helps at all. Like, when I'm filming this right now, it's like 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning. Barely past 7. I just looked at the clock. So, yeah, that, I love the backs. I love the inside of the box. It's smaller than usual tarot deck, super easy to shuffle, super cute, got a lot of folklore references in there that I don't understand all of. I wish the guidebook were better, but it's a Fournier guidebook. It focuses on getting multiple languages in there rather than giving you really deep explanations for the cards and why the artistic choices were made, which is a bummer because there's some really cool artistic choices. We're not doing this one yet. There's some really cool artistic choices that were made in the Carlotydes deck, and I wish I understood them, but instead I just have to sit with the cards and ruminate until knowledge comes to me, or some semblance of understanding. Another deck that I brought into my collection that I've already included in a video is the Queer Tarot. This is featured in my Neon Nights capsule collection. I have edged this in a neon green. This deck is large, it is bulky, it's difficult, though not impossible to shuffle, but it's pansexual pride kind of energy with the color scheme. All of the models that are in this deck, all of the people that modeled for it are actual queer people and their pets. The guidebook even names each individual model and gives you their pronouns and their identity, a brief description of their identity. So it's a really cool concept, but it is a Rider-Waite-Smith clone. So if you don't like that, skip out on this one. It's really colorful, really fun. It's an easy reader. It's got good energy, and it's got a lot of representation. So we love to see that. And genuinely, even though it's a really stiff, difficult shuffle, I really enjoy shuffling it because I can tell that these cards are going to soften up with time, and they're going to give me that thwap sound that I love so much. Listen. See, they already kind of do. Right? I don't know if you can hear that difference, but it's not a clean, crisp shuffle. It's a little bit of a bassy shuffle, and that's something that I really like as a neurodivergent person who plays with the cards as a tactile experience. So the Queer Tarot. And the last tarot deck that I brought into my collection before we get into oracles, God, 5 tarot decks in 1 month and 3 oracles. That's unacceptable. That is overconsumption to the max, and I am not letting myself do that next month, especially because I've got more furniture that I want to buy, and I have to depend on myself for bills a lot more now. So yeah, I am embarrassed about, I've said it before, but I'll say it again. I am embarrassed about how much overspending I did this month. If you were to look at my, if you had access to my bank account statements, you would be judging me so hard. That's all I can say there. But I did get after a long time of, hemming and hawing about this deck, I finally brought into my collection the Wildwood Tarot. This deck has enchanted me since I first saw the box and saw, let me see. No, the book doesn't have it. I don't have the box over here, and the book doesn't have the same cover, but It's the stag card, which represents justice in this deck. Let me see. Well, we'll just flip through. This is, so, okay. This, ow, oh, I just scratched my nose ring and it stabbed me. Owie, owie, ooh, owie, zowie, yikes. Ooh, let me pause for a moment before I keep talking about the Wildwood, because that hurted. Okay, we're back. I made the inside of my nose bleed, but it's okay, we're all good. The piercing is fine, it literally stabbed me so hard that it made me bleed. Wildwood Tarot, right? This deck is weird. Every single major arcana has been changed in some way, shape, or form, some more than others. Like the Lovers card is just called the Forest Lovers, but it's still changed. Rather than the Devil, you have the Guardian. Rather than the Empress, you have the Green Woman, so on and so forth. The Pip cards have, first of all, the suits have been changed. So you have arrows instead of swords. You have bows instead of wands. You have stones instead of pentacles. And then I think you have vessels instead of cups. So the courts are still queen, king. I think it's prince and princess. Let me see. No, it's knight and page. Okay. Yeah, the courts are the same, but the suits have changed, the major arcana have changed, and there's keywords on each card. And the keywords that are on the cards do not always match the Rider-Waite-Smith description. So, for example, 10 of arrows. Arrows are swords. They're the air suit. The 10 of air is normally associated with an overabundance of mental fatigue and overwhelm that leads to feeling burnt out, undone, betrayed, overwhelmed, etc. It's got you driven into the ground. You're at rock bottom, right? This, however, says instruction, 10 of arrows instruction. So this takes the idea of the 10 of the mind and moves it into the next stage of the cycle instead. So rather than saying the 10 of arrows is oversaturation of the mind, it says that the 10 of arrows is the overflowing of the mind into the next generation. So it's not something that I cannot reconcile with the traditional elemental readings of the cards, but it cannot be read as a Rider-Waite-Smith. It is not a Rider-Waite-Smith clone. It is in many ways its own things. Instead of giving us keywords for the court cards, it gives us animals, which is really difficult to work with if you don't have an animal gnosis practice going on. It's just a weird deck. You can see I have not trimmed it, which is strange for me. I'm not a huge fan of borders, but something about this deck, the borders really work for me. It's like a storybook quality almost. 3 of arrows, jealousy. Like this is so almost, but not quite, you know? The wheel, and it's like a loom. Love that. So this deck really spoke to me. I did not know if I was going to like it or not, but I went ahead and indulged myself and got it on a whim. I have not edged it either, so this is just the raw. I don't even think that I will, because I like the white matching the white, so I think I'm gonna leave it that way. But yeah, I made this adorable little bag for it that I am obsessed with. I think it's just the cutest frickin' thing. And perhaps the bag is a big reason why I've been reaching for the deck a lot. But I've just been wanting to learn it. I've been wanting to learn it on its own merits rather than holding it to the standard of Rider-Waite-Smith or Thoth. And it's been really fun. I don't know why I thought it would be a good idea to interrupt my Thoth study with this deck, but somehow it's worked out really well. The guidebook, let me pull that out. I've got it over here. The guidebook at the very beginning incorporates some information about the Wheel of the Year in the modern pagan terms and how it relates to more not classical, but more ancient paganism. But this Wheel of the Year is really similar to Crowley's Deccan cycle. I have not directly compared the dates and placements to see if they are one with Crowley's system, but just the idea that somebody else has done a similar thing where you assign tarot to dates or to areas of the calendar. that's cool, I guess, is what I'm getting at. And it shows that the deck, while it does go its own way, it's still really grounded in the history of the esoteric knowledge of tarot, this, that, and the other. So I don't want to discount it. The Oracle deck that I never thought that I would get, but that I finally broke down and got myself, and I got it specifically to use with the Wildwood Tarot, Woodland Wardens. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this one. My version has a thumb hole that's not properly cut out. The other one is, so it's kind of goofy. This deck I have already edged in that same bronzy gold color. I love edging my decks in this color. I just think it's so pretty, and it matches the decor on the backs. I thought that as soon as I got this, I was going to trim the fat borders off because I hate the borders so much. But because I use it with the Wildwood, which has those borders that I don't want to get rid of, I've kept these because it makes it a little bit more cohesive. This deck is one animal and one plant per card, and then a keyword. A lot of people really love this Oracle deck. I do not find it to be that outstanding, but then I also have not done a whole lot of work with it. So let me not go around dissing a deck that has not gotten my fair dues out of me, I guess. It's really pretty, and I've gotten very solid readings with it so far. It's just, there's a lot of hype around it, and insofar it has not lived up to the hype, but I also didn't expect it to. I didn't think I was going to like this deck nearly as much as everybody else does. It's 52 cards, which is at least my bare minimum. It's not a huge Oracle deck, but it's still a good size, so I don't want to tear it down for that. I like the Woodland Wardens. I don't love it yet. I have to spend more time with it. Then I also got the Rainbow Brainskull. I got this one after Lisa Pepez mentioned. So I saw it in store, and then I saw Lisa Pepez talk about it on her channel, and then I went back and got it from the store that I saw it at. I almost got it the first time I saw it. It's 72 cards. It is a beefy boy. It's got holographic gilding. I'm not wild about the backs, but I don't hate them. They're just not impressive. But the artwork is doodle style. It's a little bit on the minimalist side. Some of the messages are a little bit repetitive, but because there's 72 cards, I can let it slide. Like if I were to take out the repetitive messages, I would still have over 50 cards in the deck, probably over 60 cards in the deck. So I don't want to downplay, like, if you have a large deck, the repetition doesn't matter so much, right? Because there's more cards to buff it out. As you can see, this deck has like long key phrases rather than keywords. I think one or two of the cards don't have any text on them whatsoever. I think it might actually just be one. But it's almost an affirmations deck without being an affirmations deck. It's not painful necessarily, but it does make space for your pain. Does that make sense? I don't know if I've described that well. Like, okay, this card here. What are the things you care about? It ain't always gonna be dirt. This is very supportive, but it's also instructional. So that's kind of like the whole vibe of the deck is supportive instruction. I really like it, but I don't have much more to say about it than that. I don't love it. I just like it. And then finally, the last deck that I brought into my collection this month. Technically, it did not get here until August 1st, but I ordered it on like in the very beginning of July. And that is the Zammer Twins Oracle Edition 3 from Deviant Moon. I do not have any other Patrick Valenza decks. I do not have the Deviant Moon Tarot. Nor will I be, actually they're going to come out. My understanding is that there's going to be a pocket-sized Deviant Moon soon, so I'll probably snag that one. But I really want the Trionfi della Luna. However, it is perpetually sold out on the Deviant Moon website, and so I have not pulled the plug on that one yet. But this Oracle deck is one that I really wanted to get in on after I saw it mentioned a lot in the Oracle Decks with Attitude tag that went around a couple months ago. And it seemed interesting. I liked the weird ass artwork, this very edgy, like it's giving medieval edgelord, and I'm here for it. I love a cringe deck, honestly. Like the Tarot of Vampires, I adore. Vampires with a Y. I really love that deck, even though it's really cringy campy. And this one is sort of similar to that, but it's medieval instead of aughts vampires. It's 50 cards. And it does come with 2 additional art cards, and it comes with a guidebook. I have only had it for a couple days, so I cannot say anything more than that I bought it. And that's everything. Those are all of my decks that I brought into my collection and all of the updates about my life. This video is quite long. I thank you for hanging out with me. So let me quickly show you some of my apartment that I'm really proud of. This is my tarot bookshelf. As you can see, the wall behind it needs to be decorated, and the sides of the bookshelf are bare, and you can see the screws, so I'm going to be putting collage or stickers or something over them. But this is where I keep my decks, my games, my printer, and yeah, this is my tarot area that is for display. Next to it, there's another bookshelf. This is my couch situation right now. I have a couch coming in the mail soon, but this is a regular bookshelf that I have. I used to be obsessed with the West Wing. I'm really proud of my bookshelves. They're some of my favorite things that I make. Oh God, I should be filming this way. I'm sorry. Y'all have just been watching this sideways. I'm so sorry. So let me give you a better look at it. Okay. Here's my altar space that I have right now. Here's my kitten. His name is Bach, like the composer. Here's my altar space right now. I don't know if I'm going to keep this as altar forever. I want to set up altar over here in my workspace. So this is where I was just filming. As you can see, I have a shirt. This is just a... what do you call this? Scrubs. This is a scrub top. And the pattern on it... Oh! My cat just almost broke my lamp. He's a pesky one. So right now, this is where my lamp is set up. And my cat, Bach, he is tiny enough that he can stand on this clothing rack. And he just knocked this lamp over. You little rascal. I have a sewing machine down here that I'm trying to teach myself how to use. When I was a young child, I knew how to use a sewing machine, but it's been like a decade or more since I've touched one. So I have to reteach myself sewing. I've been sewing by hand. This is my craft corner. There's this on the walls. My dead flower vase. Yeah, I'm really happy with this space right here. I have a lot of candles hanging on my door. This is my bedroom. I have a bed coming in the mail. Let me turn on the light. Wrong one. I always do that. Okay. This is my bedroom. Hi, Bach. It's not finished yet, but we have another bookshelf over here. So this one has all of my reference books, as well as my noisemakers, cookbooks, etc. And then over here, don't look at me. Over here we have my occult bookshelf that has all of my magic books, tarot books, etc. Right? Up here, this is some magic stuff that I keep. I've got this really cool Bratz poster. This, oh, let me keep the camera going the right way. This is... right here, this is an altar space for my familiar, a cat that I used to have that I loved very much. He passed away this past January, which is just another thing that's contributed to the difficulty of this year. Ow! Hello, Bach. He's climbing on my shoulder. Here's some artwork that I've made that's my own. And here's my closet. Oh, let me whoop, 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 turn on the light. Here's my closet. I'm so proud of it. I love... I mean, it's not done, but I love a closet. I love looking at all of my clothes in a row. It makes me happy. Yeah. So, yay. Oh, I'm gonna tattle on myself a little bit here. There's this artist that made this hermit card and that sun card. I did not know this artist directly when I was in school, but I had friends who were friends with this person, and she was also in several programs that I was in as well, although we didn't really share time together in those programs. But her name is Janie. I don't remember her last name, but she's made one tarot deck and she's making another, and I'm really mad I didn't get to buy the first tarot deck she made, but I'm definitely going to buy the second one. But these prints are from the first deck. All right, I think that's really all that I wanted to show you of my place today. Thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you so much for listening to me talk about my life and tarot decks. That's it. This is a pretty day out. I'm going to go get ready for work. I love you all. Mwah. Bye.